Today's episode is sponsored by our friends at PGX Grading Services, the Gen X place to get your comics graded and cased. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Codename YouTube Hero 2. Hi, I'm your presenter, Shibu Are You? Well, we're going to take a look at another reissue Walmart exclusive. Today we're going to take a look at Perceptor, which was part of the Transformers the movie line that's currently being available, a Walmart exclusive. If you could see, this was the delivery. My box was totally fucked up on this delivery. So I already took the figure out just to make sure everything was okay. But then again, with these windowless packaging, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to chuck this box anyway, but I wanted to make sure that the action figure itself arrived okay. Now, my regulars will probably be like, hey, you're not in the retro room. Well, that's because I'm broadcasting from my living room because I wanted to showcase this amazing Xbox 360 game. This is called Transformers Devastation. It came at the very end of the Xbox 360's life. And it is one of those hidden gems that when you pick it up, it's like you're playing an episode of Sunbow. As you can see, the animation is pretty G1 accurate, Sunbow accurate. And I like the way it looks like a comic book, kind of like coming to life. So I played a little bit before and I kind of got stuck in one spot. And I'm picking it up again and trying to plow through that hurdle that kind of prevented me from going any further. But this is an excellent game. I'm shocked because usually when they do licensing and stuff and licensed games, they're absolutely shit. I mean, just watch the Angry Video Game Nerd of the first Transformers video game, Transformers on Commodore 64 or Famicom. It was on Famicom, yeah, the Japanese Famicom. They had a Transformers game, and it's absolutely insanely difficult, and you could see him lose his shit, and it's hilarious. But this is a really good game. If you're able to find it on eBay and you're a Transformers fan or a Gen Xer, and you still have your Xbox 360 or Xbox X, which plays the old systems, definitely pick this up. It, like I said, it is like going through a Sunbow episode, and it's a lot of fun. So Transformers Devastation, and we're going to take a look at Perceptor today. Here we go. Alrighty, so here's the packaging for Perceptor, and you could see it's following the same template as we showed you with Skywarp and Thundercracker in this the movie line of G1 reissues. And just for comparison, here is the iconic packaging for G1 action figures. Again, you know, it is a far cry, but at the same time, they're trying to incorporate, you know, less plastic. And like I mentioned in our Skywarp episode, they are going to reissue Soundwave and Blaster using this iconic G1 packaging. So there's still a chance if you missed out on Blaster and Soundwave earlier. I think Soundwave came out in 2018, and since then his price has like jumped up a lot in the secondary market. So if you missed out on that, you could still pick up. And the cool thing with actually with Soundwave and Blaster is they come with cassettes. So I think Soundwave comes with Buzzer, which is Laserbeak's clone, and Ravage, and Blaster comes with, I think, Steeljaw, his like tiger or whatever. But anyway, like I mentioned, I've noticed that the Walmart, when they ship things, it's either a hit or a miss. Either they'll put it in a box or they'll put it in like a bag type of mailer, and I got bit by it twice. This came in a regular mailer, and you could see, look at this shit. I mean, I don't mind because I open my Transformers, but I know quite a bit of people, whether it's G.I. Joe, Transformers, or Star Wars, where it's Amazon or Walmart, they arrived similar to this. So I've already taken the context out, and just to look at the box, this is the side view. Perceptor in both robot and alt mode. Again, he's one of the few toys that came out as a microscope, and I always thought that was pretty cool. And here's the back of it, and his spec deck, or whatever tech. Again, that red kind of slider is no longer incorporated. I said that when we looked at, even with this one, they, if you look at the Starscream's tech deck, is that it's the same thing. The red little film that goes to see it is no longer included. But you can see the difference though, like as far as the context, it's like just abridged, so to speak. But yeah, it's a big difference. Anyway, let's open them up and see what is in Perceptor, the Autobot scientist. Alrighty, so here's the contents of Perceptor, and again, like I pointed out with the Skywarp and all these the movie reissues, that they are missing their paint sticker deco. So obviously it is a carbon copy of the 1986 release of Perceptor, and the only thing that's missing is the stickers. Like here, there would be stickers here. I'll bring up a picture on the thighs as well, and I believe there was also stickers here under the kneecap. The other thing that's worth noting about Perceptor is here is his projectiles still in its tree, and there's the spring-loaded gun, which is interesting because, as we mentioned with Starscream and the other Seekers, they elongated their projectiles for quote-unquote choking hazard. So it's kind of interesting that they stuck with the... I mean, again, that doesn't make any sense, but fear not, TGC Customs is going to be making the 1984 version of the missiles and the guns. So I'll have a link, and here is Kiki. All right, so Kiki is actually a cat that we're adopting. She was a stray cat, and after the passing of my other cat, it took a little time. So we're just kind of integrating her to being inside. So I apologize for that. Sorry about that. It's tough trying to housebreak a cat, but she's really good. Look at her. Such a sweet girl. Not a mean bone in her body. Anyway, back to this. Like I said, TGC Customs will be coming out with a shorter gun and missiles. So definitely check out their Etsy store for and we should be getting the first sample of that, and we'll have that in another episode of the channel. But let's compare Perceptor with the leader, Optimus Prime, G1 Optimus Prime. You can see they're about the same height. That's the funny thing about Transformers. There's no fucking scale. Like, you'll have a character like Grimlock, who should be towering, but he's this almost a little bit bigger than Optimus. And then you'll have Jetfire or Six Shot, which are huge compared. So Transformers is so weird in the sense that there's no real scale. It's just whatever Diaclone came over, and that's what was made, So it really relies on the imagination of the child, and that's why I like Transformers. It's for that reason. You have to really dig deep in your imagination during your playtime. Where G.I. Joe is pretty much like, universal. And, you could just play out an entire scenario. That's a plus and a negative, but I found it to be a plus. But that's basically where we are. So let's go back to Perceptor. And just for fun, who would be the G.I. Joe equivalent to Perceptor? Well, in my opinion, I think it's a combination of two characters. You would have Lifeline and Mainframe. But the difference is that Perceptor would engage in battles. He wasn't pacifist, and where Lifeline was. So that's where I think the difference is. But the fact that their overall view and outlook on things is very similar. And I find that to be interesting. Mainframe in the sense that, again, similar characteristics as far as there's a logical explanation to everything and going about executing that. I find that to be very similar with both characters. But yeah, that would be my equivalent in the G.I. Joe world to Perceptor. It would definitely not be Dr. Mindbender. Let's get that straight, because uh, Mindbender has no concept of logic whatsoever. Where Perceptor, that's basically his MO. Again, like the mold is very simple yet complex, if that makes sense, just because of the fact it transforms into a toy microscope. But the one thing with holding these reissues is remembering how stiff the joints are. I mean, that's a telltale sign that when a transformer is deteriorating is the joints. But when you first get a brand new transformer, that's the thing that kind of sticks with you, is how stiff and strong the joints are initially. And of course, with us kids, like, during the course of playtime, they would get loose and then wonky. But when you initially open a G1 transformer, it's like, I guess we've been taught since G1 that toys are fragile, that you're scared to break anything. But, yeah, bend the arms, you got to loosen them up. So it's kind of like going against the grain that we were like, have been taught since Transformers, the G1 Transformers, is that toys, have to be delicate. But you can see I'm kind of like working that joint, that elbow joint. But yeah, this is really fun. Again, definitely recommend. I think there's a sticker app here. Definitely recommend calling or looking up toy hacks and getting the correct stickers for these reissues with Skywarp and Perceptor here in any of the reissues, because the lack of stickers is really, like, it's funny, you don't think that, but stickers are very important. They add an extra bit of pop to the figure. Without them, they're still cool, but it's like something's missing. So that's the element we get at it. All right, so let's transform Perceptor into the iconic microscope. And here we have Perceptor in his microscope form. And I'm going to say this. Now, anybody who has transformed these modern Transformers toys will appreciate the simplicity of these G1 early 80s Transformers. I mean, it was a piece of cake. Now, if you watched my recap review looking at, all of these, like we did Optimus, we did Alita 1, RC, like even Wheeljack. I mean, it's like you need a college degree, and literally it is so complicated and complex that it's such a frustrating pain. I had to save all of my instruction booklets for all of those. So God forbid I have to change them to something else, which I don't plan on doing. Those things are staying in. I'm like, fuck it. Those are staying in that, whatever I left them at. But these are wonderfully simple, fun, and robust. Those are a winning combination. I don't know, I guess with all the articulation, trying to look
accurate to what they were depicted at, that compromises as far as complexity had to be made. But when you look at this, you just appreciate the simplicity of the G1 Transformers. Again, not having the stickers really does hurt this. I mean, yeah, without the stickers, it is a microscope. I mean, it's a toy microscope, and that's the whole gist of Transformers. But definitely going to need to contact Toy Hacks and get the stickers to put on Perceptor. But again, it's funny because, looking back at Perceptor, the perception was he was a dork, he was a geek, he's not popular. It kind of manifests now that you're an adult. Like, yeah, that guy's the one making the shitload of money now. And Blaster, he's probably like, working at Walmart or something. But yeah, it just shows that science is cool. And it's funny because my own journey was this. I was a jock. I played football, wrestling, and track. And, it wasn't until I tore my ACL and I went in my first year. First of all, I'm lucky to get into Rutgers. I don't know how the fuck that happened. I think my mom had pulled. But anyway, I'm glad I got in, because once I got into Rutgers, I realized that, there was no future in football and no, being under 6 feet tall, Indian descent, and playing against D1 athletes. I really woke up to be like, all right, this shit ain't for me. But anyway, I love him in microscope form. I think it's pretty cool. I remember that he had some type of magnification. So it was a little bit of a magnifying glass at the end. I gotta look at that. But this thing definitely needs stickers. I remember there was an Autobot sticker right there, to showcase that Perceptor. But the other thing is, Perceptor as a character had so many important elements to the whole mythos. I mean, he's the one that announced that Optimus Prime is going to die. He's the one that detected the spores from another planet. He was the one that kind of kick-started all of the Transformers adventures. If you think about it, if it wasn't for Perceptor for diagnosing and providing hey, this is what's wrong, then the Transformers wouldn't be able to go out to rectify it. That's what you take away from Perceptor. And again, look at life. You have to identify and address the problem and then go out and execute it. So these are all little life lessons that one would pick up from Perceptor.
Alrighty, so that should do it for this episode as we take a look at Perceptor, a recent Walmart exclusive G1 release. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of Codename Newtavero 2. Have a happy and blessed Thanksgiving.